Hey everybody, it's Jeff here of the Mentor team at Realty Executives Cooper Spransey. As we wind down August, start the school year back up, and head into fall already, there's a couple things that I kind of want some people to just be aware of and be thinking about. If you've been tossing around that idea of possibly making a move, there's definitely some factors coming up seasonally every year, really, and specifically this year that might affect your situation. So, first of all, is the fall activity, and seasonally in a typical fall, we are going to continue to see some activity, especially in September and October. That means people looking to put their house on the market are probably still going to see offers and be able to move their house. But for buyers, one of the things that you want to be aware of is the fact that oftentimes while there's activity, there's a lot of times less activity than what you'll see in a typical spring season. So if you've been a home buyer who maybe got burnt out in the spring, you were competing with people and prices seem to be going all over the place and you really struggle with that, the fall can actually be a great time to look. The other benefit of looking in the fall is oftentimes what happens is we'll see, prices in September and October are kind of stabilized after the spring comes through and sets the pricing for the year. And then come January, February is when we start to see prices go back up again. So people kind of contemplating, gosh, do I do something here in the fall or do I do something in the spring? It could be a better financial situation to make that offer and get things moving in the fall time, because you're likely to see a slight price increase on that same house come February, March, April. Of course, you want to make sure that the right house is what you make your selection based off of. But so if the right house isn't there in the fall, that obviously doesn't matter. But if you're kind of open and there's a number of situations, just keep in mind that it's typically easier to be a buyer in the fall season than it is in the spring season. Along those lines, this year specifically, we've noticed a huge news story with affecting home buyers, and that would be in interest rates. So roughly last year, about this time, maybe mid fall, we saw rates as high as 4.5%, and we kind of thought we were getting back to a new normal where they should be. Well, since then they've really come down, and we're seeing rates around 3.5% right now. And here's why that matters. I think most people don't really think about this stuff if they're considering buying a house, but a 1% reduction in interest rates, which is what we've seen, is a 10% increase in purchase power. That means if you were pre-approved for a $300,000 house, you can now afford a $330,000 house at roughly the same monthly payment. So that obviously opens up the door for what you can afford and what you can look at and what you can consider making options on, which makes it real attractive, to be a home buyer right now. To put that into perspective a little bit, if you were buying a $300,000 house, and let's just say you had 5% down, 20 is going to be ideal, but if you got 5% down on a $300,000 house at a 4.5% interest rate, your monthly payment's going to run right around $1,445 a month, give or take. There's going to be some PMI thrown in there, some taxes thrown in there, some of those types of stuff, but your principal and interest will run right around $1,445. However, that same purchase price and that same down payment with a 3.5% interest rate is going to be $1,280 a month. So you've just reduced your monthly payment by like $160 some by doing nothing, by writing an offer at the same price and by having the same amount down. It's just that rates are different and you're saving that money each month in interest rate. So an extra $160 a month, I think we'd all take that. I think we'd all appreciate that. Of course, that also allows you to buy more if you're looking outside of, or if you're looking into a higher price point. So those were just two things that I wanted people to consider here as we enter September, just to be aware of, because I think a lot of people maybe aren't thinking about those types of things. A lot of people are stuck on this idea of springtime being the time to do things, and a lot of people really don't quite understand what the interest rate thing means for people. So those are two big stories. If you're considering making a move over the next 12 months, the fall might be a good time to win, really, as a home buyer. But of course, every situation is unique. So if you have any questions about yours, we'd be happy to talk. Feel free to reach out anytime and we'll talk soon. Take care.